The basketball world has been buzzing with anticipation, and finally, the moment we've all been waiting for has arrived. Joel Embiid is back on the court, and his return couldn't have come at a more crucial time for the Philadelphia 76ers. But here's where things get really interesting, folks. While everyone's been focused on what Embiid brings to his own team, there's another story unfolding on the other side of the country that has serious implications for the entire league. Draymond Green, the Golden State Warriors' defensive anchor, appears to be entering a new phase of his career, one that could be directly influenced by the presence of dominant big men like Embiid returning to full strength. Let's rewind for a second and talk about what we've witnessed over the past few weeks. The 76ers have been struggling, limping through games without their franchise centerpiece. Every night felt like a battle, and the absence of Embiid's presence in the paint was glaring. His ability to command double teams, protect the rim, and impose his will on both ends of the floor creates a gravitational pull that opens up everything for his teammates. Without him, defenses could focus entirely on stopping Tyrese Maxey and whoever else decided to show up that night. The spacing disappeared, the offensive flow became stagnant, and defensively, there was simply no intimidation factor protecting the basket. But Embiid is back now, and the ripple effects of his return are already being felt across the NBA. This isn't just about the 76ers suddenly becoming contenders again. This is about how elite defenders are adjusting their games to counter these dominant post players. And nobody does it better right now than Draymond Green. If you've been watching Warriors games lately, you've probably noticed something different about Draymond's approach. He's not just playing defense anymore. He's conducting a symphony of defensive excellence that seems tailor-made for the modern era of versatile big men. Green has always been known for his defensive intelligence, his ability to read plays before they develop, and his willingness to do all the dirty work that doesn't show up in the box score. But what we're seeing now is something elevated, something that goes beyond his traditional role. With centers like Embiid, Nikola Jokic, and Anthony Davis dominating the landscape, Draymond has essentially become the prototype for how to defend these unstoppable forces. He's not trying to match their size or strength. Instead, he's using positioning, anticipation, and an almost supernatural ability to be in the right place at exactly the right moment. Watch how Draymond approaches defending a player like Embiid. He doesn't give him the middle. He doesn't allow easy catches in the post. Every possession starts with denying comfort, making the entry pass difficult, and forcing the offense to work harder than they want to. When Embiid does catch the ball, Green is already establishing position, feeling where his man wants to go, cutting off angles before the move even happens. It's chess, not checkers, and Draymond is playing 3 moves ahead. The beauty of what Green brings defensively is his communication. If you listen carefully during Warriors games, you can hear him constantly talking, directing traffic, calling out screens, and alerting his teammates to incoming actions. This becomes absolutely critical when facing someone like Embiid, who can score from anywhere within 15 feet and has developed a legitimate three-point shot that makes him even more dangerous. You can't guard him with just one person. You need a system, a coordinated effort where everyone knows their responsibility, and that's exactly what Draymond orchestrates. Here's what makes this matchup so fascinating from a tactical standpoint. Embiid is essentially unstoppable in isolation. He's too big for guards, too skilled for traditional centers, and too smart for younger defenders who rely solely on athleticism. His footwork in the post rivals that of any big man in the past 2 decades, and his ability to draw fouls puts defenses in impossible situations. So how do you defend that? You can't really. But what you can do is make everything harder, make him work for every touch, and force him into uncomfortable situations where help defense can arrive. That's where Draymond's defensive masterclass truly shines. He's mastered the art of controlled aggression. He's physical enough to bother Embiid, but smart enough to avoid silly fouls that would put him in foul trouble. He uses his lower center of gravity to his advantage, getting underneath bigger players and making them shoot over the top rather than allowing them to go through him. And perhaps most importantly, He trusts his teammates to rotate properly when he inevitably gets beat or when a double team is necessary. The Warriors' defensive scheme under Steve Kerr has always relied heavily on switching and help defense, and Draymond is the glue that makes it all work. Against Philadelphia, you'll see Golden State employ a variety of coverages depending on what the 76ers are trying to accomplish. Sometimes they'll switch everything, trusting that their defenders can hold up in mismatches for a few seconds until help arrives. Other times, they'll hard double Embiid as soon as he catches the ball in his spots, forcing someone else to beat them. And through it all, Draymond is reading the offense, adjusting on the fly, and making sure everyone is where they need to be. What's particularly impressive about this stage of Draymond's career is that he's doing this without the same athleticism he had 5 or 6 years ago. He's not jumping as high, he's not moving quite as quickly laterally, but his basketball IQ has somehow gotten even better. He's compensating for any physical decline with wisdom, with experience, with an encyclopedic knowledge of offensive tendencies and player preferences. He knows that Embiid loves to go to his right shoulder for that turnaround fadeaway. He knows when the pick and roll is coming and whether it's going to be a slip or a pop. He's studied the film, put in the work, and it shows every single possession. Now let's talk about the broader implications of this defensive excellence. The NBA is in a fascinating place right now where big men are dominating again, but not in the traditional back-to-the-basket way that we saw in previous eras. These modern centers like Embiid can do everything. They can shoot threes, handle the ball in transition, facilitate from the high post, and still punish you down low when they want to. This versatility makes them incredibly difficult to game plan for, and it's forced defenders to evolve. Draymond represents that evolution. He's shown that you don't need to be 7 feet tall to impact the game defensively against elite big men. You need intelligence, you need toughness, you need communication, and you need an understanding of team defense that goes beyond individual matchups. When Embiid is on the floor, the entire defensive structure has to adjust, and that's where players like Green become absolutely invaluable. He's not just defending his man. He's orchestrating how the entire team defends the opposing offense. The timing of Embiid's return also matters in this context. We're approaching the stretch run of the season where teams are positioning themselves for playoff seeding and trying to build chemistry before the postseason begins. For Philadelphia, getting Embiid back healthy and integrated into the lineup is essential if they want to make a serious championship run. For teams like Golden State who might face them down the road, these regular season matchups become incredibly valuable teaching moments. Imagine a playoff series between these two teams. The chess match between Embiid's offensive brilliance and Draymond's defensive mastery would be appointment viewing. Every possession would carry weight, every adjustment would be scrutinized, and the coaching staffs would be working overtime to find advantages. That's the kind of basketball that fans live for, the high-level competition where stars prove their worth and role players step up in crucial moments. What we're witnessing with Draymond Green right now is a player who has fully embraced his role as a defensive specialist and taken it to heights that few players in NBA history have reached. He may never win another Defensive Player of the Year award, he may not make all defensive teams every season anymore, but when you watch him operate against the best players in the world, you see mastery. You see a player who understands every nuance of his craft and executes it with precision. And with Embiid's return, we're about to see that mastery tested in real time. The league is better when its best players are healthy and competing at the highest level. Embiid coming back gives us another elite talent to watch, another dominant force that defenses have to account for every single night. And defensive-minded players like Draymond Green give us the perfect counter, the chess grandmaster who finds ways to slow down the unstoppable. This is what makes basketball beautiful. The constant push and pull between offense and defense, between individual brilliance and team concepts, between raw talent and refined skill. Joel Embiid represents everything that's special about modern big men. Draymond Green represents everything that's special about elite defenders who elevate their teammates and make winning plays. When these forces collide, we all win as basketball fans because we get to witness excellence competing against excellence, and there's nothing quite like it.